Okay, imagine this. What if you could learn calculus not just by staring at a textbook, but by actually playing with the equations themselves? Well, that's the big promise behind a new feature from openAI. Today, we're going to break down how these new interactive tools for math and science in ChatGPT could totally change the way we learn.
And get this, the potential impact here is just massive. Every single week, 140 million people are already using ChatGPT to get help with math and science. That is a huge, huge number of people out there actively looking for a better way to understand this stuff.
And there's a very real reason for that. A recent Gallup poll found that more than half of adults in the US say they struggle with math. So this isn't some small niche problem. It's a really widespread challenge that affects how people feel about learning, both for themselves and for their kids. So here's the thing. It's not just about getting the right answer on a test. For so many of us, the big ideas in math and science can feel incredibly abstract, right? Almost like trying to learn a foreign language. The real challenge is understanding the why behind it all. And this brings us to openAI's big solution. Instead of just reading an explanation, what if you could actually mess around with it? This is where the whole idea of interactive learning really starts to shine.
So what are these things exactly? They're called dynamic visual explanations, and you can think of them like little interactive labs that pop up right inside your chat. They let you see how formulas and variables actually behave by showing you the results of your changes instantly, in real time. It's all about making those abstract ideas something you can actually touch and see.
And this isn't just a cool gimmick either. There's real educational science behind this. Research has shown again and again that when you can actually manipulate variables and see what happens right away, you understand the concepts on a much, much deeper level. It's kind of like the difference between someone telling you how a car engine works versus you actually getting to turn the gears yourself. Okay, so that all sounds great, but how does it actually work in practice? How do you go from a complicated formula on a page to this interactive tool right at your fingertips? Well, it's actually super simple. You just start by asking a question about a concept you're stuck on. Then, instead of just getting a wall of text back, ChatGPT gives you one of these new interactive modules. And from there, you just get to play. You can adjust the numbers, tweak parts of the formula, and immediately see how it all affects a graph or a visual. And we're not just talking about basic arithmetic here. The range is pretty impressive. You can ask for help with something fundamental like the Pythagorean theorem, or you can dive into more complex physics concepts like the ideal gas law. These prompts are basically your ticket to a whole new way of seeing these ideas come to life. Of course, the real question is, does it actually work? So let's take a look at the feedback from the people who got to test this feature out early. This quote from a high school math teacher, Anjini Grover, really hits the nail on the head. She points out that the tool doesn't just hand you the answer. Instead, it encourages you to understand why something works the way it does. It actually pushes you to explore the connections, and that is the absolute key to real long-term learning. And that positive feedback wasn't just coming from teachers. Students said it finally helped them see how different variables relate to each other. Parents found it was a way more engaging way to help their kids with homework. It really seems like this focus on understanding the how and why, instead of just memorizing, is what's clicking with everyone. So where does this all fit into openAI's grand plan? This isn't just some random one-off feature. It's clearly another big step towards building a true AI-powered tutor. You can really see the progression here. Last year, they rolled out things like study mode and quizzes, which were all about helping you practice and recall information. Today, we have these interactive visuals, which are all about deep conceptual understanding. And the plan is just to keep building on that. The vision is pretty clear. Right now, the focus is on a core set of math and science topics for high school and college students. But tomorrow, the goal is to bring this interactive approach to completely new subjects and to keep building out this whole suite of learning tools. And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. This tool is turning learning from this passive thing you do, like reading a book, into an active, visual conversation. It just makes you wonder, as these tools get even more powerful, what kind of completely new questions will we even think to ask?